Hey guys, welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. I'm saying this right off the bat, I am not looking to start a war here between the North and the South. But what I've got to talk about today has to do with trailering a boat in the wintertime. I've got a guy who's coming up from Louisiana up to Illinois to pick up my boat from last year. He's looking to buy my boat, and his concern was, Mark, what kind of weather am I going to be driving up in when I get up to Illinois between Thanksgiving and Christmas? I don't want to be driving that boat in the snow. And I kind of chuckled like, well, wait a minute, I drive that boat in the snow and in the, and I have to do it all the time. What's the big deal? And he's here in Louisiana, we don't leave the house if there's snow on the ground. And so today we're going to talk about some of the differences that the northern guys kind of know about and maybe southern guys don't quite know about when it comes to driving your boat and trailering your boat in the winter. Stick around, guys. Welcome back to Mark Fisher Outdoors, everybody. I'm Mark Fisher. We're talking about trailering your boat in the winter, in snow. One of the things that this fella said when he called me is, I don't want to be pulling my boat through that snow and things like that. And quite honestly, he was more concerned about the salt. Oh, you guys up north, you use a lot of salt. I'm going to get salt all over that boat, all over that trailer. I don't want that stuff on there. That's going to wreck my boat, wreck my salt. Well, first of all, salt is not a good thing. We get that, but a couple of things you need to do. Number one is you put that tarp on so that that salt is not getting onto your electronics and things like that. So your cover is on your boat. And I pointed out to him, listen, there have been times when I've been driving up from Florida in the winter and the weather's totally fine, and then I start getting to southern Illinois and snow starts showing up on the ground, and that's when I will pull over, put the tarp on. Maybe the tarp hasn't been on that whole drive from Florida up, to the point where I'm starting to get into southern Illinois, somewhere, around like Kentucky Lake. And I'll pull over and put the tarp on because I agree. I don't want to be driving on those salt-covered roads without that tarp on to protect my electronics and things like that. That doesn't do anything about the salt getting on my trailer, the bottom of the boat. But then the next step is, once I get home, I'm going to pull it into one of those car washes. I'm going to take that power wash and I'm going to spray all that salt off of there and get that trailer cleaned up so that salt doesn't stay on my trailer. And then you're fine. There isn't that salt is not going to do any damage to your trailer as long as you remove that salt, before you put it in your garage and have it sit there. You don't want it sitting there for a long period of time, but it's fine. Now, when it comes to safety elements and safety aspects, this is where I think that difference comes into play in terms of the northern guys who know about it and who've been exposed to it and the southern guys who haven't. Our exposure to snow and sleet and icy conditions means that we kind of have experience driving in that kind of stuff. Whereas it isn't that the southern guys don't get it. They just haven't done it as much. It's like everything that we've talked about on the channel. The more you practice it, the better you get. Well, being from Louisiana, you don't have a lot of experience with dealing with snow and ice. So I get that. But there's really a few things that you need to pay attention to so that you can, and that we know to pay attention to so that you can be safe doing it. The biggest thing is speed. When there's snow and ice on the roads, you need to not be driving as fast as you normally do because you need that stopping distance so that if there's a problem, you can stop in enough time without causing a wreck. So keep slowing your speed down, driving 55 as opposed to 75, for example, and just kind of keeping your speed at a pace where you got plenty of room in front of you so that if something happens, you can slow down without slamming on the brakes and you're going to be fine. There's a lot of times when I'm traveling, towing a boat, that I'll just move over in that right-hand lane and I'll be going along at 55 or 60 when a lot of the traffic's going a lot faster. Well, they can go faster because they don't have a boat behind them. They aren't as concerned with what's going to happen if I need to stop fast. So slowing your speed down is number one. Number two, if you do get in a position where you have to stop quickly, you want to, if you've got a diesel truck and you've got air brakes, you want to make sure those air brakes are functioning, and that's the way you stop, because the last thing you want to do is lock the tires up and get into a skid. If you find yourself skidding, taking your foot off the brakes and getting that traction back and that steerability back. Soon as you start to skid, you no longer have steering. You can turn the wheel all you want, but if you're sliding on ice, turning the wheel is not going to change your direction. But the minute you allow those wheels to turn, you're now steering. Even if you're on snow or ice, you're now steering, and you've got control of your vehicle, and more importantly, control of the boat that's trailering behind you. So speed, braking distance, and being able to make sure that you don't at any time get into a position where you are skidding or sliding on that ice. If you are, take your foot off the brake, steer through the maneuver, or steer around the obstacle that's in front of you. But giving yourself plenty of distance in front of any potential obstacles is the first step in doing that. Otherwise, guys, when it comes to salt, like I said, it's just taking that salt that you get on it, cleaning it off before it sits there and creates any damage. And winter is not a time to not get that boat out and get into that warmer climate where you can go fishing. You guys got it lucky down south. You're going to fish year round. For us, we're going to have to put that boat in the snow and the ice, drive it through that snow and the ice so that we can get down to Florida and Texas and places like that to get on the water and be able to fish that open water like you guys get to do every weekend. So, guys, I hope this was helpful. Send me your comments if you have other suggestions about what to do in the snow and the ice when you're towing a boat, and we appreciate that. Hey, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, do that now. We appreciate you being a part of the Mark Fisher Outdoors community, and we will see you tomorrow for another episode. Take care, everybody.